Good luck. Mr. Evans would like. Good. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's regular council meeting, Tuesday, November 28th, 2023, at 6 p.m. precisely. The meeting tonight is to be held and transmitted electronically via council chambers, which are located at 39 South Shore Road, in Lake Brisbane. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge with gratitude our gathering this evening on the traditional ancestral territory of the Subasit people who have walked gently on these lands for them. With thanks for sharing their lands with us. With that, I'm looking for introduction of late items. Councillor Sandin.
Yes, so Paulson is Strong Start.
Okay, then there's Strong Start is closing, so we'll put that on the new business E. And I believe Councillor Austin, you have public meetings.
Yeah, just a discussion regarding our open public meeting schedule for 2024, please.
Okay. Anything from staff?
Yes, just one deletion. The second delegation will not be able to make it.
Not tonight?
Not tonight.
And reschedule them at a later
Yes.
date. Any others? Seeing none, we move to approval of the agenda with the amendments. Moved by Councillor Sandin, seconded by Councillor Austin. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. Now we have public input period. The public input period is for anything that is on tonight's agenda. If you have anything you wish to make a comment on anything that is on tonight's agenda, you have 3 minutes to do so. Please stand and state your name. Fire away.
My name is Bill Garrett from Lake Park Road here in Lake Cowichan. I'd like to speak to the CBRD's request for a letter of recommendation supporting the reallocation of tax dollars. I'm just looking at the letter that was provided in the report from staff. The intent of the tax was for the growth of tourism revenues for our businesses in town, increased visitations of tourists, and creation of jobs. What they want to do is reallocate these funds towards affordable housing, the acquiring, construction, maintaining, renovating of houses and rentals. From looking at the letter, we're talking about plus or minus $500,000 a year. For affordable housing, that's a drop in the ocean. However, for tourism, that's a significant dollar for the Cowichan Tourism Society. Within the information that's provided, there is no financial information indicating what the budget is for the society, how much reliance they have towards that funding. But I would think it's their primary source. If I look at the source of fundings that I pulled off the internet, it's listed as number 1. All the other sources are from grants and annual contribution that they have to apply for. I also note that in October of 2021, staff had recommended to the CBRD Council at that time that the decision to reallocate funds be delayed until the MRDT 5-year strategic business plan renewal was complete, which would be 2026. And a more fulsome stakeholder engagement had taken place. Personally, before giving any support to a recommendation to reallocate funds, I would like to have more information. What is the impact to the society? What is the impact of tourism within the Cowichan Valley? And I would hope, sincerely hope, that council would not support the request that is being requested.
Appreciate your input. I can clarify that question period, that question if you wish to pose it then. Public input is just for you to provide that, so I will clarify some of your points there. Any other one for public input? Seeing none, thank you kindly. We're looking for adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting of council on October 24th, 2023. First of all, any errors or omissions in that minutes? Yes, Councillor.
When we were talking about the Mildred Annex, there was a referral motion by Councillor Frisbee, and I did second it, and I went back to the video and watched it numerous times, and I said second, and then I put my hand up to ask a question, but the question wasn't appropriate to the motion on the floor, so I didn't ask my question. So there's some misinformation that needs to be corrected for this to move forward.
Okay, appreciate that. I think Councillor Frisbee, please.
Were these minutes, just for clarity, were these minutes created and approved when in the 14th committee of the whole meeting? That'd be impossible. So why were they used as a reference from our CAO to push forward with the Mildred, annex to the demolition? I guess that's the answer that.
It was brought forward the committee of the whole, in your absence, and at that meeting.
That's what I'm referencing.
Yes, it was brought forward for further discussion there. The referral motion, as I saw in the video, was moved and seconded, but Councillor Sanadu had put her hand up, and I questioned her on providing a oral question. She said it was not, so we didn't move that question. As for the Mildred child, it has been moved, seconded, and endorsed at committee of the whole. So it is a moot deal now, but moving forward, I think we can clarify those needs by some other means. And I think there's some ideas that are kicked around that may be endorsed or not by this table, but we will talk about it at further point, perhaps in this meeting. Will that suffice?
Yeah, the notice of motion for parking issues in South Shore Road wasn't seconded or voted on, but it features in these minutes. So I don't see how we can have that feature in the minutes. Like, if we're going to stick to these procedures and quash motions, why are we then including them, or is this just a pick and choose the minutes by the CAO? That's my question. And CAO.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So one agenda item was, we thought seconded and voted on. It was not included in these minutes. One agenda item was, one motion was clearly not seconded nor voted on, but they feature in these minutes. So we talk about procedures and we'll pick and choose.
No, not pick and
Who's
choose.
pick and choosing the ones that get through to the minutes?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did raise this with the mayor. The motion that's not seconded should be corrected here.
So at this meeting, we're looking at the minutes from that.
The committee of the whole.
Councillor Sandon.
But if the minutes aren't accurate to the actions that took place at the meeting, how do you pass that? Like, do we correct it now?
Yeah, you could correct it.
I'll give you a minute to get back into them.
So it will be a simple, but method of just moving and seconding it.
The full minutes of October.
Just the committee of the whole.
Committee of the whole minutes. Would anyone like to do that? So the minutes of the committee of the whole held on October 10th, 2023. Should be moved and seconded at this meeting and then voted on.
You're talking about the ones prior to that?
Committee of the whole,
The November 14th, and then it goes down below under four.
The committee of the whole. October 10th, What would it
Are
be?
you looking for October 2? Councillor Sanders.
Sorry, we should actually be looking at the last regular council meeting of October 24th. That's where this was discussed.
Yeah.
Committee of the whole was brought forward again.
But just for clarity, so
Just-
in the council meeting, we do endorse the committee of the whole minutes, and that's where they are shown under reports, council and other committee reports. Yes,
But I just want clarity that I voted against it because of the misinformation of what was stated at the October 24th meeting. That's why I voted against it, because it wasn't accurate.
what is your pleasure? I would like to move in second, so we could move on those minutes and get that endorsed, but. By Councillor Sanders.
I have a question.
Okay, can we have it on the floor so we can have?
Yeah, what is it?
Moved and seconded by Councillor Omaka. Further discussion? Councillor Sanders.
Do we amend these minutes of October 24th right now to pass it? Because if we don't amend this, then I will be supporting this.
If there is some discrepancies within what?
Regarding the Mildred Annex of the referral. It was seconded and it was passed at this meeting.
Okay, so referral went to the committee of the whole.
It said a future meeting, it actually didn't say the committee of the whole because Councillor Frisbee was not going to be in attendance for the November committee of the whole. So it should have gone to the committee of the whole for November. It was supposed to be December.
Absolutely.
It wasn't stated that, what meeting was meant to, and nothing to do with when not in attendance. The motion was to clarify who was overseeing the demolition of the building and also the contract and what it would, cost us in terms of any extras that were been. That wasn't provided before it was, provided to the committee of the whole.
Correct. Okay. So the minutes have been moved and seconded. And if there is some request for changing, this would be the time to do it. If not, I will move to call the question and we will vote on it. I will call the question. All those in favor?
Which one are we voting on? So I was away for one.
The minutes of October 24th.
I was away for that. So I can't.
You can vote.
Can I?
Yeah, not, you can move, but you can vote.
We're voting to separate as presented. Should know. Change that. So just.
I will wait. Is there a clarification, Councilor Sanders?
I think I stated it 5 minutes ago.
So are you moving an amendment to the minutes? I just want to make sure that we're good.
Yes.
And how you word it. So Frisbee, is in your hand?
Yeah, I think the amendment should be that the motion passed to get clarity on the contract and overseeing the project on the child building, that was seconded by Councillor Sandu and passed. I think also that the parking in regards to 71 Southfield, 75 Southfield Road should be taken off those minutes because there was no motion seconded or passed.
Okay, so motion to rescind the parking issue, moved by Councilor Frisbee, seconded by Councilor Sandu. All in favor of rescinding that? That'll be struck on the minutes. The other one on the Mildred Child Annex, on the oversight, etc. Are you moving that as an amendment to the minutes?
Yes, I understand there's a need for this, at this point, but at the same time, I think that we do run into issues down the road and can reference that we intend to the staff to supply us with more information.
Yeah, that's been moved. Do we have a second on that? Second by Councillor Sandu. With that amendment, all in favor? Opposed, if any? And on the full minutes, make sure that we're doing it right. On the full minutes of October 24th, I need a motion with those amendments. Moved by Councillor Sandu, seconded by Councillor Volnaka. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion carries. Councillor Frisbee.
Just want to piggyback on these minutes. I think it's clear now that our audio recordings and our memories aren't the best for producing accurate minutes. So I'd like to table the motion that the executive secretary attend all future meetings and record minutes live in person and make sure that we are following procedures.
That's been moved and seconded. If we have one agenda here. Would you like to take that to committee of the whole for further discussion? We'll have that motion here.
I'd like to have that motion when possible.
So it's been moved and seconded. Do I have any input on that motion? Joseph?
Can we have a repeat of that motion?
Yeah.
The executive secretary attend all future meetings and record minutes live and also follow up procedures. Serve seconded and motions are carried.
Any other discussion? All question, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you very much. And I think we've dealt with the business arising from it. A little bit of what came in there. Sorry. Excuse me. Good, great stuff, great stuff. Welcome back. Do you have a question? Councillor? So we have one delegation, and I've been informed that the delegation may need some additional time, so we will add that time prior to welcoming the delegation. So with the motion and full endorsement of Council, I'm looking for 20 minutes for the delegation to do a presentation, made by Councilor Bonacca, seconded by Councilor Austin. All those in favor? Unanimous, thank you very much. Wesley Davidson? And Don?
Where would you like us to stand?
Could you come where the owl can see you?
How about I stand over
Yeah,
here? Is that okay?
Well, for the audience, this is the Couching District Replacement Project. Come on up.
Sure, thank you for having us here in council. I'm Wesley Davidson, the Chief Budget Officer for Island Health. I have a great pleasure working on this hospital and the future Nanaimo Cancer Center as well for Island Health. So I look at the acute capital projects. And Donna, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure, I'm Donna Joanne Tapp. I'm the project director for the Connection Company Care Plan, providing community and health services in America.
So we thought it would be a good idea to come and meet mayor and council and the community and talk about this new hospital that's being built just down the road. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge with humble respect and gratitude that we are building a hospital in unceded, unceded territories of the Cowichan tribes, and that we, Island Health, serve the Cowichan Valley, including the other nations in and around the Cowichan Valley, being the Kodiak, Passionate, Sebastians, the Manus, Canal, Blacks, and Co-ops, Malahat, along with the Métis Nation, Inuit, and House of Friendship. And I had a great privilege of driving up here. Someone said it earlier today, and it's really, truly beautiful. And it's the Sebastian Nation. Have stewarded it over England's time. So I'm very grateful to people about it this afternoon. So it's been one of the long days today. So quick facts about the hospital. It's 204 beds. We've got 148 now, just expanded a little bit in the existing, but we're at 148. We now expanded to 204. The project is $1.45 billion, which is more than what was originally planned for it, but COVID happened, global supply chains, and I'm sure we've all heard getting those stories about, challenges getting materials and we are trying to make this the most welcoming and safe space for all. That's one of our key mandates for our project and our alliance and also the policy. This is always a big question about the hospital. We have 3 Wi-Fi and we have 3 parking. Whereas 400 parking stalls on the existing site, and we double that for the new site. So hopefully people will not have to wait to find a park or drive around and find park. Because that's one of those different places we have. In terms of what we're building, so we have increased our bed base. As I said, we've gone to 204, and that's broken down from med-surg beds. We have mental health spaces as well have increased along with their ICU. So we have, for example, as you can see on the slide, we've doubled our ICU beds. We've added almost 10 mental health spaces. We've increased maternity spaces from 4 to 10. We have increased peds space as well, pediatrics. We've increased ORs, radiology, so MRI, we've got an MRI, so if you've ever gone down to the existing PDH and got an MRI, it's through a temporary trailer that gets delivered. We set that up and give your MRI in one place. There's a CT at the existing, but we're going to have 2 CTs in the new, so we're increasing capacity at every turn. So those of you that know the area, so the hospital is being built, so Balmakinnon Road and the municipality of North Melbourne is their Balmakinnon local area plan, so we've done the whole thing of that overall development. We're building essentially 2 main buildings, the diagnostic treatment building, which is the green building you can see there, and the IPU tower, which is where mostly the patients will stay, and that is a 7-story building, it's the pinkish building there. We have 2 red spaces, which are mass timber, and our reach out spaces, that's where our Indigenous health is, our UBC faculty of medicine students, and also our conference spaces. And last but not least is the white building, which is terribly toned there, but is our service center. So that's where all our mechanical electrical main part is going to be. I'm happy if people have questions for popcorn, or if you want to wait for the end, I'm either way working. So this is an image from 2021. It was a lot greener than it is now, but you can see that this is Balmakinnon Road here. It was largely farmland, obviously that's going to be developed with development in the local area plan, which has mixed-use density associated with it. This is what it looked like a few days ago. So this is the diagnostic treatment building here. We have energy care at the front, so the cancer clinic and another one there, and then our IPU tower will be out the back. So we're up here. And then this little space here is considered just the orange. Looking at it from Balmakinnon Road, that is also will have transit opportunities being bus as well as bicycle lanes and walking. It's going to be a large, nice boulevard that's part of the Balmakinnon Road area plan. Here you can also see the helipad that's on top of the IPU tower. So up here, that's for flights going in and out, mainly outgoing. And then we have the emergency drop-off, which is here. So there's a dedicated emergency vehicle entryway, but if you are a patient in need and one family member or loved one is dropping you off, there is a drop-off zone that comes through here at the lower level. I'm going to see if this works. This is a little fly through. If I can make it work. There we go. So this is coming into the western entry. And there are 2 entries, it's split side, but this is the western entry. You're coming here. Admitting is on the left hand side. You can see those people are congregated just past there is the admitting, and then on the right hand side is Indigenous health, gathering space, faculty of medicine. And then we'll continue on. This is a double height space. We call it our community hall or our concourse. At the top level, there is a cafe that you'll be able to have a coffee or a lunch with a loved one. And then this lower level has has essentially a living space and circulation to get you to and from elevators and for labs and other space. On the lowest level, we have emergency, we have medical imaging, and as we go up the building, so this is the second story, you can see the skylights above, so they're letting natural light into the space, mass timber. We try to emphasize, obviously, we're doing the forest here, so we try to emphasize the forest. It means a lot to the whole community, the Osage nations that we have in and around this, in and around the valley. So we emphasize the wood only in this area. Obviously, hospitals and wood don't go together too well. Similar to your space, it's a really nice atmosphere to be in. Unfortunately, in the hospital, we have to like that those with really harsh chemicals to prevent infection. So we can only have it in certain areas. But this gives you a sense of what the hospital looks like, and then we come towards the eastern entry, which is at a different elevation, and you come up the stairs and out to the eastern bathroom. How long do we have? Choice. Get what you want to get ready to move just there. Okay. All right. We're here. Right. So then we'll just go for a quick fly through into the emergency department. So you'll be able to drop off on the left-hand side there, come into the emergency department. This is a triage space, so you've received here. It's bigger, brighter, and more accessible with the current. And then you would head off to the left-hand side into the emergency department. And then this would be a typical patient floor. So you would come in off the elevators. This is the main care team base or the centralized hub. So you can see all the workstations that are there. And then we have a satellite hub, care team hub further down. We'll start heading down the corridor, and as we go down on the right hand side, our patient rooms. On the left hand side of this, there are service spaces and circulation hospitals and other things. This is the satellite care team base, you can see there. And then we'll just turn around a little bit and go into a typical patient room. One thing I'll draw your attention to is the window at the end. These are significantly larger than any window you will have seen in a hospital. We're trying to improve patient outcome. It's been proven that access to daylight views improves the outcome of patients. So that's one of the key drivers. And then this is coming down to the sunroom, which I think is one of the best spaces within the hospital. We have one on each end of the L, and they have great views out towards Swifus or to Mount Trevor. In terms of what we've been doing for the last couple of years since we've awarded to our opponents, so we have Alice on in the picture. We've been working on mock-ups and some rudimentary mock-up of an OR, so that we can get our stakeholders, our teams in, and they start playing around in the areas to figure out if the bed's in the right location and we bring some lights on the right location. We've been spending a number of months of that. We've also been undertaking virtual reality, so the woman there you can see on the right hand side has an Oculus headset, and she is, you can see on the monitor, she's actually touring space using that Oculus headset. So we've the model being rendered for the entire hospital, so that you can look at any space within the hospital to understand adjacencies and flows, and we can interact with equipment. We've also had some success recently in terms of accessibility and how we are going to function with low vision and other accessibility challenges that we'll face in hospitals. So you can see, it's not clear, but here is a 3D rail printed map of the landscaping, so that someone with low vision was able to articulate how the landscape might look and what it might be. We're trying to also provide a low vision walk that people who perhaps struggle would be able to have that a walk without any assistance. In terms of just images, so this is the community walk that was on the library, typical patient room. I'm just going to shop through these. So I've got a problem with that. In terms of engagement with the nation, so we've undertaken some journey mapping. We've got some videos, of safety videos that we're going to take in. We're going to try and meet with the stats nation. and those further afield. Sorry. Okay. Further afield to engage and understand how the hospital might influence, what their experience has been, and how we can build. Yeah, sorry, I've been talking all day, so then my throat's. And then in terms of gathering space, so this is nation specific, so there's a gathering space here. So that if there's a large gathering, family members, etc., that's dedicated for that. It has a rain garden associated with it. There are opportunities for Zingbar dances. Oh, thank you so much. Zingbar dances and other traditional activities can be undertaken in and around this space. It faces east, has access to the east, and also has access to the west. Those were some of the key important drivers. This is what it will look like internally, so you can see the board is heavily shown here. We're looking for carvings and other nation-led items that we need to put in original spaces, really just a placeholder for now. It's just a placeholder for now. In terms of sustainability, so we are. Thank you very much. We are the first all-electric hospital in Canada. We are. We have solar panels. While that looks like a lot of solar panels, and when you see them, it is a lot of solar panels. But because we're an energy hog as a facility, we'll use about 3% or thereabouts of electricity will be through those solar panels. So every kilowatt that those solar panels can generate, we will use on site. An MRI, for example, it's the same power draw as 300 homes. So we just don't have enough solar panels to. We have to account for the entire, not the entire, but all of our parking spaces, etc. We have, we're going to be the first hospital that is going through certification soon. You may have heard of LEED Gold. This building may be LEED Gold, it's called LEED Gold Center. We're going for LEED Gold, but also going for net zero, carbon net zero through the CAGBC or the Canadian Green Building Council. We're going to be the first hospital in Canada to do that. And we're really trying to up our sustainability. We're going to be, while we're 3 times the size of the existing hospital, we should be about 75% efficient and use about 60 liters water. So it gives you a sense, A, how things were done back in the 50s when they designed and built the old hospital, and B, how efficient we're trying to be now. And with that, I've said a lot. I'm going to.
Thanks. So I'm here to talk about the Cowichan Health and Care Plan. And the Cowichan Health and Care Plan is actually a community-based investment strategy plan that's been designed as a sister project to the hospital bed. So in 2018, when our executive was talking to the ministry about this new hospital, they realized that the number of beds that they were planning wasn't actually going to match our projected demand for services. So rather than lobby for more beds and a bigger hospital, they decided to take a chance on investing in community services with the intent of actually preventing the need for the hospitalizations. So decrease the hospital visits, keep the bed base at 100% occupancy. So that is our goal. The methodology that we're using is evidence-based. It is grounded in best practice models of care. And what they did was they looked at who was actually using the CDH services, what our population projections and growth and age groups and needs were going to be. They did a lot of community engagement and got feedback from various groups within the Cowichan Valley and took all that information and put it together to say, who could we support in community and keep out of hospital with the biggest impact. That is sort of the whole idea. And what our goal is for hospital sustainment up to 2035 is to save or avoid 44 admissions a day, 44 beds a day for the hospital. So the health and care plan actually launched in 2021. It was designed in 2018, and then we all know COVID happened, right? So 2021, we started this quest. And over the 3 years, we have had leadership invest money into our area for healthcare and community. And what we have done is target those large ticket items that were identified in that process of the health and care plan development. So in 2021, we had a long-term care facility open in Duncan, the Hamlets, which gave us another 80 beds of capacity for long-term care. Our Cowichan Hospice opened in that year. We created some transitional beds for people who are in the hospital, who don't really need the acute care anymore, but have really complicated discharge planning to be done. So we actually partnered with an assisted living building in Duncan, and we moved people over there and support them with a case manager to help with that discharge planning and some community health worker support for their needs. So we started that with 6 beds, and we launched a COPD team. So COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's a respiratory breathing issue, chronic disease. We have the highest incidence of COPD in the Cowichan Valley, actually in BC. But we didn't have a team dedicated to providing people with self-management skills and education to help with that. So we put that in place. The next year, we expanded our steps bed to 10 because it was very popular and we needed more. We added nursing resources throughout our community teams to support palliative care in the home. And we added some resources to our geriatrician in Duncan to create a small seniors outpatient assessment team. And this year, we have expanded our COPD team because we're so popular and busy. We've added another RT, which is respiratory technologist, to that team. And we are in the process of transitioning the operational oversight of our hospice house away from long-term care, where it was linked, into community services, where the rest of our palliative team is, so we get better connection between the nursing teams. And we're expanding the bed base from 7 to 10. So hospice was built with 10 beds. They only opened with 7 because that's what we felt we needed at the time, but that need is growing. So now the entire 10 beds will be open as of December. So what has that done? Well, over time, the teams in the community have been working really as a team. So our community team works with our acute care team, and we work with our physician group, and we work with our primary care network counterparts. And together, we've been working on the whole concept of patient flow across the continuum. And what we've done in the community is the teams have risen up. They have doubled their number of nursing hours, their number of community health worker hours in the community. And as a result of that collective effort, we've actually decreased the average length of stay by 1 person per admission, which doesn't sound like a lot, but over time it adds up to quite a bit. The other exciting piece of work that's been happening as a collective group with the help of our community partners as well is looking at those folks who are what we call alternate level of care. So they're in the hospital, don't really need that acute care level of service anymore, but for some reason they just can't manage at home anymore. So we have been doing different pieces of work between all the different teams that collectively is actually decreasing the length of stay for those particular people. And one of the things that we've done that has had the biggest impact is that transitional care unit. So we're able to take people with those complex needs who need just a little bit of extra help or a little extra time before maybe they can go back home. We take them to the STEPS unit, we give them extra support, we do more planning with them, and then they transition either to long-term care, assisted living, or back home. But in a much more planned fashion. It's a much better transition. So one of the things that we are so excited about the investment in the community services and these very specific and targeted approaches is that it is now in this 3rd year starting to really show us the dividends. So on this particular graph, This represents, can't see it very well, but this represents the last 18 months at the hospital and its occupancy. So the dotted line is 100% occupancy. The other lines that you're seeing on the screen are the other hospitals across the island. You can see they have very high occupancies, which is sort of our normal in healthcare these days. But since the health and care plan started, what used to be about 115% average occupancy at CDH is now sitting at an average of about 97 down to 94%. And we've stabilized there and we're maintaining that. So the collective impact is working. So just to give you an example of how well we are working here to support the bed flow. The two lines at the top are the projections that were done in 2018 and 2021, the new census data, about what we're going to need in the Cowichan Valley area for care. So it just goes up and up and up. The purple line is what the initial health and care plan was asked to do to maintain the 100% occupancy at the hospital. And the blue line is actually what we've achieved so far. So not only are we maintaining optimal occupancy at the hospital, we're actually doing better than. So we stay on this trajectory, we are sitting in a very good spot into the future, because a hospital runs at its most efficient and gives the best quality care when it's running at about 90% capacity. So some of the things that we're working on right now, so it's in construction and not yet done. We have something called a back to home clinician, who is a community-based nurse who's going into the emergency department and checking on people to see if there's anything we can do for them in the community. We're finding that lots of people have never heard of community services, they've never been connected, and yet they have diagnoses and problems that we actually have teams for now that we can support. So we're connecting people. Sometimes we're able to take people home instead of having them being admitted. So we're avoiding some hospitalizations there. We're also starting a new project that's been funded by the Ministry of Health called Hospital at Home. So they're doing this in Victoria. And so what this is for people who need to be admitted for acute care treatments, but actually are pretty up and around and feeling not so bad. And they are stable enough to actually be getting their acute care at home. So we will have 10 virtual beds where people can go home and receive care from the team every day and have access to care 24 hours a day in their own home environment. We're also expanding our IV services. We're looking at supporting continence care, because that is a driver of infections, hospitalizations, and long-term care admission. And we're also expanding steps one more time to 14 beds, because again, the need is growing and we're there. So this is just a few of the highlights of our health and care plan. We're really excited that we've been recognized nationally, locally, provincially for the work that we've done through some awards. Our COPD team has the highest referral and visit rate across the island. So they're knocking it out of the park, and they're able to get action plans, which are a key way for people to self-manage their care, into the hands of people within about 2 weeks of that initial referral to the team. Our the alternate level care rates, as I said, have dropped dramatically. We're seeing a 50% reduction of people dying in hospital for palliative care end of life, because they want to be home, and we're being able to facilitate that. And our time to see a geriatric specialist for assessment has now decreased from over 6 months down to around 2. So lots of benefits, and over, as a 10,000 bed day safe since we started by the end of March this fiscal year, up to 17,000 beds bed day safe for CDH. And that is an overview of health and care plan. Thank you very much for your time.
So I'd be remiss if we have partners, yourself being some of those partners, and the CDRHD, but we also have the foundation. So the Hospital Foundation, Cowichan District Hospital Foundation, has been supporting the hospital for over 18 years. Naomi, who couldn't be here today, unfortunately, just asked me to mention, the great work that they've been doing, they've supported, there's currently they are, just installing a mammography machine within the existing CDH that will be transferred over to the new CDH. That wouldn't have happened without the foundation, so they have got a great campaign that's, that's ongoing right now, and if you are interested and want to reach out to the foundation, their information is right there, and they would love to do this in your we would also selfishly, like if you are interested in hearing updates from us, we have a quarterly to biannual update, a community update, but if you want to get on our email address, newcdh@islandhealth.ca, I should know that by memory, but we give regular weekly updates from expanding, but it just gives you a little bit of what we're doing if you want to hear about that. The other is that if you have lots of great jobs, obviously healthcare is a great place to work. We have long continued careers for many people. But we also have construction opportunities. So if you have loved ones that are interested in a career in construction, either apprenticeship, or if you have a ticket and you want to work on a project that's very close to home, that pays great wages, then please send them our way, because we would love to support the local nation as opposed to importing people from elsewhere within the province. And this is just some images of what the team's been up to, whether it's the Cowles Fair at the bottom right hand side there, the Truth and Reconciliation, we have the site team and they're all dressed in their shirts there, and have many other activities that are going on. There's the thank you for your time today. It's great to come here, and if there are any questions, we can
I will turn to my colleagues and see if there are any questions. Councillor Bowman.
I think, I was just wondering what not really the life expectancy, but when you continually see new housing and we're getting more and more population, and even though you have so many beds and a 90% capacity, what sort of population growth do you get to that hospital being full?
So we are very fortunate with the, I'm just going to come back here. So we're very fortunate with the site and its size. So we have a future continuity plan. We've also got funding for what's shown on the screen here, but we have an opportunity to mirror. So this is the inpatient tower. It's like an L, and it has another bed on top. We have the ability to mirror it here, so make a different L to double our capacity. We have an opportunity to expand out here into this space here, so that we could put Andrew Care, which occupies this area here right now, in over here, and then we'd expand our emergency and medical imaging. So we have thought about future proofing up to about 2080 as a minimum.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Councillor Olsen. Wonderful. Thank you.
Has there been discussion about the current hospital site, like what?
That's so we're busy focused on design and construction. Once we've got past the hump, so I'm going to say April of next year, we'll start to think about it. But we haven't. It's not part of this overall scope right now. But Island Health will start to. I will start to focus us on that probably April. But there's, we won't be doing anything with it, or even really considering it. We are stabilized, we have our patients and it's living. So that's 2027, around May 2027.
Mr. Frisbee? I do have, of the 204 beds that are in the new design, how many are single room?
About 85%.
85%, so much more significant.
There, yeah, it's either singles or twins, but 85%.
Okay, and piggybacking from the community health aspect, community services, we've been fortunate to have a paramedicine opportunity like Couch. It's taken a lot of the stress off of people visiting the hospital for those cares that we speak of, those medications, wound care, etc. So very fortunate to have that within our community as an opportunity to engage some of those hospital visits. Hopefully that will continue, and that's a flight for our local paramedicine team. That's often we're here,
Yeah, he's actually, it's been connected with our team in town, right? Yeah, we've been working with him for about the last 3 or 4 years.
And one more question, if I may. Would there be an expansion of, let's say, dialysis outside of the hospital setting? In the future, like, we talked about IV care, for instance, with at-home dialysis be on the list in the future.
With my, we do, intensive in mind, but I think the question was asked whether.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that question because it's out of my purview.
I know
That programs run,
South Health Authority, we're looking at that as trying to negate some hospitals.
I would say never.
Absolutely.
Yes, other places do it and it can be quite successful. I just don't think we're quite there yet.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Put it on your list.
Okay.
And another point, I'm on the surgical waitlist for.
Maybe we can bump the,
No, before
No, but, I think this would be an opportunity for faster service within those people who are waiting for service.
it increases capacity, absolutely, and we wouldn't bump the wall for this.
Appreciate that, I'll give you the credit. And I don't usually.
Right there, the right place at the right time, it helps everybody else get where they need to go.
I don't usually go to the audience, but I do have a question from a gentleman in the back, if you would.
Thank you for that, Councilor Sam, you asked the question.
Great, thank you very much. So with that, I want to thank you. I'll give you a couple of minutes to, just to
Somebody else, thank you.
Next presentation.
No waiting to 2027. No, you wouldn't put up in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take your home, watch the elk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
So we do not have the other delegation, we'll welcome Mr. Crown at a future date. We do have some action items in the correspondence. The first one is from the Cauca Valley Regional District. That's a request for the letter of support, which was topic for public input. Mr. Fernandez? Anything on this that you can speak?
Nothing really, other than they're looking for council action on this issue.
Okay, just for a little bit of clarity, the MRDT is a tax that is collected on hotels throughout the Cauca Valley that is afforded to tourism opportunities. So the intent of this request is to take the portion of online rentals, that portion, to go to affordable housing, not the whole MRDT portion. So just the online portion is the intent of the allocation towards affordable housing. At the presentation, if you look at the CBRD, we the whole meeting of October, Mr. O'Leary made a presentation at that time, pointing out that the allocation of the MRDT that is currently in place for Twitter will continue, and that the online portion portal will be utilized for affordable. So just to clarify your question there, you don't have to ask at the end. This is a recommendation that came to the board, was endorsed and sent to member municipalities for their support moving forward. We saw it at previous meetings, delegations stating the need for rental housing and opportunities are not what they used to be because of Airbnb, et cetera, being utilized, taking long-term rentals out of that market and into the short-term markets. And this is an avenue that economic development council thought was a possibility of moving some of that MRDT online affordable funding to affordable housing. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it would be incorporated into leveraging other entities, other provincial and federal entities to get that skin in the game, so to speak. So that was the intent of the ask, and it is totally up to this table as to what you wish to do. Councilor Austin.
Or would the money be going to like something on college and housing, is that what you're saying?
That is the intent to look at. One aspect is the workforce housing strategy that is currently in place. When we're looking at the build of a hospital, the build of a community college and police station, another college and secondary, there's a number of workers who are looking at short-term rentals, for instance, as an opportunity to reside in the community that they're working, as opposed to commuting from where they are. So that was one option, is to look at the workforce housing, and then of course, any attainable employment opportunities from that. Anyone else? I'm sorry.
Okay. After looking through this, when the idea of this, when it was made, was that it was money that was coming from tourists and visitors who go to hotel, motels, Airbnbs, etc. I understand it's taken away housing, but I still think that it should go where it was intended to go.
Okay, for clarity, the Airbnb portion was never allocated in MRDT. So this is the opportunity to move that portion into affordable housing.
But it's still all, the taxes or revenue were all coming from tourism.
Basically,
Yeah, I'm still.
The Airbnbs were not in that.
But they're normally still, if you're coming to an Airbnb or a B&B or a vacation rental, you're coming as a tourist. And so I feel that that income and tax from tourists should stay with tourists. But that's my take on it.
Anyone else?
I'd like to move the recommendation.
Moved by Councillor Sandy. Do a second? Second by Councillor Austin. Any further discussion?
Recommendation is for the
Letter of support, I think that will, that portion will be allocated to, for the online accommodation platform. Not the hotels, not the motels, not the portion that has already been allocated to tourism intelligence, but just the online portal. Any further input? Moved and seconded, I'll call the question, all those in favor? Opposed? Sure, the Council Mack is opposed. And that motion carries. Thank you very much for your input. Moving forward, we have the Allerton Lake Art and Culture Society offer to paint a large image for council chambers. Get on with that for the comments. Mr. Fernandez, do you want to speak to this, or?
Well, it's really a council decision. Coming into your facility.
Any input, Councillor Austin?
I have a bit, because I talked to these people once in a blue moon, they are wanting us also to have a proposed public art policy, which is something that would maybe go to the agency at some point, because Duncan and other places do. I think it would be nice, we did do murals before, and I thought they were kind of nice. I know we have to leave your baby from time to time, but that was what, 20 years ago? I think it's important to have a little bit of everything. We're going to do some First Nation things as well. Hopefully we get some of those. And then these people are doing a lot of work. They're gonna work with us on July 1st to have a bigger event for that as well. I think they're really becoming a major group within our community. I think we were, and they do get a grant, I think it's 3,000 to 5,000 per year to do some work, so.
Any other input?
I'd like to move this and just get on the board.
Moved and seconded, no seconded?
I guess, you know,
Just to get it on the board, we're not going to get it on the follow, but,
no, I got an opinion.
and we'll utilize that as.
There we go. I think the council has to look first at, we don't have an actual art object or, from what it's gonna be. What I would like to see is the direction the council wants to take is, are we looking at our history as a council here? To put in here, are we looking at our Otaki living committee with our Japanese? I think we have a lot of stuff that's in storage. Where are we gonna represent our First Nations? And I think that as a government with the First Nations, I think that we should be something afforded to them first. I want to see where we're gonna go, past, present, future, Subasic government, have a direction first instead of just putting stuff up everywhere.
Councillor Sanders, please.
I think this, in principle is good, just have the discussion to meet with them, and I also think that if, when we have our planning sessions, whatever, that council talks about this, and get this, these are topics that we need to talk about, and this table sometimes isn't the time to get into those things, so.
So in light of that, and piggybacking on your motion, would you amend that to invite this group to a future meeting for discussion?
Yes.
So moved by Councillor Sanders that we invite the Arts Council, to amend the motion. To invite them on the aspect of the proposal. Moved by Councillor Sanders, second by Councillor Austin. Further discussion? All those in favor? Always dependent, so we will make no decision on this until we have a bit of an input. We did discuss the possibilities of First Nation art and display Japanese display area with separate sectors. So I think a long-term plan is perfect. Thank you very much. Moving from correspondence to council and committee reports. Committee of the whole. In the absence of Mr. Frisbee, I took the chair of that meeting. So I would like to move the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting that were held on November 14th with the following recommendations. That the committee recommend that the presentation be afforded additional time to council procedure requirement. That was the delegation. That the committee recommend approval of the Lake Cauchy Fire Department incident report in the amount of $8,503.57 for September 2023. That the committee recommend that the contract to abate and demolish the building described as the Million Child Annex located at 49 South Shore Road be awarded to Broad Demolition Limited for the quoted price of $37,500 plus taxes. Councillor Sandy was opposed to that motion. That the committee recommend that WSP be instructed to complete the project management and preliminary design of the required upgrades to the wastewater treatment plant with a quoted price of $418,667 plus taxes, The preliminary stage to be completed by June 30th, 2024. And with that, I move those. Do I have a seconder? Second by Councilor Osborne. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Okay. And back to Calculated Recreation. I'll turn to Councilor Sandy for anything on that.
Thank you very much. Yesterday, we had our commission meeting. We started draft budget discussions for Section 405. There was a mandate from the CDRD Committee of the Whole on May 10th, 2023, that the core budget requisition increase is not more than 3.5% for 2024 budget. So we approved three recommendations. One was pre-approved for a marina condenser replacement, an estimated cost of $200,000. The source of funds will be from the operating reserve. The other one was, which was ranked number one, Curling Lounge HVAC, cost of $40,000. The funds would come out of the operating reserve. The other one is the dressing room, the Kraken dressing room, HVAC. And that cost was approximately $40,000, and that would come out of operating costs. We had a delegation from Barb Spain, the Kraken owner, who gave us a update on the completed dressing room. So anybody could look at this and try to maybe see if they can go down there and take a visit. It's amazing. It truly is a state of the art. And if we could get every dressing room done like that, we'd be in fine shape. We also talked about cladding, the budget cladding for next year, and that they'll be taking a bit of a different direction in how they look at that budget, because it's been
Overquoted.
yes, substantially. So they're looking at another way. We have our schedule of meetings set for 2024. They'll be every 2 months, and our time of start is 1:30 p.m. Oh, one more thing. So function 405, 66% of function 405 is for the Couch Link Sports Arena, and 34% is for the halls, the coverage of the expense of the halls. So.
Great. And moving forward, the Couch Lake Recreation will sever the halls under their direction, and there will be a falls committee for area F in the town to facilitate discussion within the halls of the three communities. So that is being endorsed at the CDRD. The appointments will be announced, and those members will be invited to the orientation and move on as the body that makes recommendations to the board, CDRD board moving forward. As a sub-regional function that was taken away from the regional recreation opportunity, only the facility of the Couch Lake Arena was placed within regional recreation. The three halls were separated, so that's the need for a separate committee, advisory committee to do the work of that. We had a struggle trying to find appointments for the town of Lake Couch. After 3 tries, we finally did get enough people that were interested in putting the names forward. And they were finalized at the last board meeting, and most members that were advised of their appointments and are looking to the orientation. So with that, sorry to piggyback on that, but as the alternate, I was there at the meeting as well, and Councilor Frisbee's absence. Absolutely.
One thing I found interesting was that the commission for the halls, their recommendations will come to the commission of the arena, then it will go to CDRD. So I find it interesting why, especially our hall, we don't have a lot like the halls in the Couch Link area. I just found it interesting, the layers.
Absolutely. Anything else? Well, that's just for information, thank you, Vancouver Island Regional Library.
Thank you. We had our hybrid meeting on Saturday, at 9:30 in the morning. It went quite long, and there was a lot of wholesome discussion with all the trustees, regarding the 2024 budget again. It was passed previously, but some thought we should revisit, because of the increase of 18%. However, that was kept, as such. A communique regarding this increase was sent to all municipalities and regional districts following the September 16th meeting. It was also noted that we require more support from the province, following their reduction of funds, way back in 2009. It was 25%, I think, that. Present financials and reserves reports were presented. The massive library project is coming together with final designs and land transfers. They had quite a windstorm there, and their ATCO trailer fell over the minute it was brought in, but they'll fix that up. A nominating committee was formed with the executive elections to be at the first meeting in the new year. Meeting schedule for 2024 was presented with a change to quarterly meetings and executive meetings in between, with the first meeting of the new year to be on Saturday, February 10th of 2024. They'd like that to be in person, but most of them are out there at this.
That concludes.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions on the library? Thank you very much, Councilor Austin. APC will stay with you if you're holding the report.
Thank you. Our meeting was held early this month, November 16th, due to the town planner's upcoming holiday. The only business was the revised revision of the version of the OCP following a review of input from residents at our September 23rd open house. The final document will be sent to council for approval, I would imagine, in January. From the last meeting, the commission members discussed the transcript of the official community plan open house. Some of the comments as follows were: add more shade, trees, and canopies, add inclusive to vision statements, specific public access projects at Prospect Avenue and Municipal Office, and improve map readability. We get our maps through the CBRD, and I'm not quite sure. I thought they were quite beautiful, but include manufactured homes as permitted use in all residential zones. Create a bylaw for a permit system for temporary use of manufactured homes. We generally don't have a meeting in December, so our next meeting will be Thursday, January 25th, 2024, which is for Robbie Burns Day. They're all gonna have haggis. I'm pretty excited.
That concludes.
That concludes.
And you will have it for me. Thank you. Irish. Any questions or comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Community Force Co-op. Just piggybacking on Councilor Sandhu's report on the track and dressing room project. The majority of that project was funded by the Council Community Force Co-op, with funds being afforded to the facility improvements. So regardless of what transpires with the January year 2019, those improvements will reside within the facility for as long as they stand back to being used in the So it's not like those will be departing with the June 18th, should they wait. That is improvements within the facility that were not paid for by tax contributions of the community members. They felt there's a project that was worthy of community support and community improvements, and the majority of the board endorsed that, so we went forward with funding towards that project. And if you do get a chance, go have a look. It is something to behold. If you remember what was there before and what it is now, I'm sure Dalton and I remember those old dressing rooms quite handily on our weekly men's night hockey teams. And if you get 15 guys in one of those little rooms, it wasn't very pleasant. So if you get a chance, go ahead.
I just wanted to add also to that, is that the Kraken hockey team invested financially into the dressing room also with their funds. So it wasn't just we found that out yesterday at the Couch Lake Recreation meeting, when Ross did his presentation. So they're investing back. We're investing in them and they're also investing. So I think it's a real win-win.
Absolutely, thank you very much. And with that, the Cowichan Valley Regional District Board meeting. That would be neat, wouldn't it? So at our first meeting in November is the election of the chair and the vice chair. Mayor Aaron Stone, Director Stone was again placed as the chair of the Cowichan Valley Regional District, and the vice chair here is yes, Kate Segal from Mill Bay. She is the vice chair of the Cowichan Valley Regional District. I have been charged with chairing the committee of the whole meetings. So trying to herd 16 cats will be my job on the committee of all meetings. I take that as a great endorsement. I think we're looking at moving forward a co-chair model to try to implement some of the newer directors who have been appointed as vice chairs an opportunity to chair some meetings, so they get some successorship on some of us who may be not returning. Someone mentioned that they may not be running again, so trying to get the successorship plan in place for future CBRE boards, I think is important. Other than that, there is a regional growth strategy meeting tomorrow that everybody is invited to. I know it's short notice, so please don't feel that you must attend. You can watch those meetings online if you wish to see what the impact is. I think the focus of a regional growth strategy is important. We're one of the only regional districts within the province who does not have an endorsed regional growth strategy. But I think it's also important to remember the autonomy of the areas within the Cowichan Valley Regional District. We have rural and urban entities within our parameters, and people wish their autonomy. So in light of that, it will be an interesting discussion on how the board looks at moving forward with the regional growth strategy. I think it's important that we have to incorporate the OCPs of each community within the regional district into that growth strategy. And that'll be important to focus on moving forward. But North Cowichan's OCP is totally different than the Cowichan's, than Ladysmith. Those should be incorporated in. So stay tuned for updates on that. And with that, I will move to the community outreach team.
Thank you. Yes, excuse me. Our regular in-person meeting was held on November 16th at Community Services. And I'm just going to read who was in attendance because our meeting minutes are very long and I won't put them all on top of you. In attendance for Cameron Brown from Reaching Home. Alvin is the new full-time child and youth and family counselor. Daniel Adnan from the Ministry of Children and Family Development. Patty Chung from Social Development, Poverty Reduction, and Danny Natter, Recreation Coordinator for Cowichan Lake. Note that the Christmas hamper applications are available now, and hampers will be given out at Centennial Hall on Thursday, December 14th, with a free store downstairs again this year. Community Services will also be hosting a community Christmas turkey luncheon on December 14th at the Christian Fellowship Church from 12 till 2. Everyone is welcome. And there were some good postal discussions regarding all these various services that these people provide in our community. A few folks are missing due to other commitments, holidays, and Jocelyn's flat tire. So our next meeting will be January in 2024. We don't have one in September.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions on that? It's a great group that wonderful things in that community. Appreciate that. Oh, Cowichan, Councilor Cindy.
So our next meeting is January 11th, 2024.
But I do know you have Cowichan Watershed meeting. Yes.
I sure did report on that. I was not to. We held the meeting at the Leland Elders Building at Cowichan Drive.
Sea Island.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And just just a few, items. One of the things we do every month, is we get a language lesson. And so Stuart Hagedwan, basically talked about how some are losing how their pronunciations of their language is getting back to the basics and that. So he talked at length about that, speaking with his grandparents, his mother, like his whole life and different things and the process of learning the new language. It's pretty amazing. So he tries to give us one word each meeting. So I find that just so.
What was Monday's word?
Actually, give us the word. I think I might need next month this one, how to pronounce where we were. I may ask that because we'll be there in January, but, no. It truly is. No, it's good. It really is. It's very inspiring. So then, we talked about the, draft 2024-2026 plan outline. So this is kind of what our plan is for the next 2 years. And this is what our staff has been working on all year. So there's 5-6 pages. And when you look at these individual activities, you realize just how busy the Cowichan Watershed Board is and what they're doing. And we've had a bit of discussion on the weir. There's nothing new to report on that right now. There was a update on the fish kill. And what was reported was that they found 84,000 steelhead dead. So what Tom Rutherford is doing is he's going to be holding a 3-workshop series on fish kill. And the 3 ones the first one will be monitoring the flow, because there's a lot of discrepancy on releasing the water and holding back the water too soon and too late this year. So there's a lot of opinions on that and the impact of that. The second workshop will be the response. There'll be a plan in place. There really was no plan in place for this. And so there was a lot of agencies trying to mark their territory, and they found that they need a plan. The third one will be communication. And this has to do with the lack of communications, and this was said at the meeting, between provincial federal agencies, Cowichan tribes. They felt there was not enough communication. So this will be into 2024, so I'll let you know. And we also did a slideshow and reflections of the achievements and challenges of 2023. So we did a roundtable after. So we each talked about what were our highlights, what was the hardest part of our job, and learn and change. What can we learn and change in 2024? So great. So we're all great meetings. So our next meeting is January 29th, 2024.
Great. Any questions to Councilor Sandin? Thank you very much. Moving off, there's no staff reports, but we do have the bylaws. The town of Lake Cowichan Greendale Road Sanitary Sewer Local Area Service Establishment Bylaw number 1095-2023 may be reconsidered and adopted. Mr. Fernandez.
Yes, property owners representing more than 58% of the assessed land and improvements have rejected the local sanitary service proposal. With the bylaw at this point, there was no point in adopting it. You'll have to wait a year now before this can be even put back on the table.
Okay, so perhaps in the meantime, we could reach out to the Greendale residents and perhaps have a meeting and just discuss the impacts of waiting the year and how that will significantly increase the cost of the project. And as the incorporation document stated quite clearly, they would be responsible for looking into the sewer system of the town while we provided water. to those, community members there. And in the end, once all the projects were done, then the road, the Yale Road would be paved. So in the meantime, as this pauses another year, that leaves another year that Greendale will not be looked at for infrastructure improvements, just to be clear. And that was the intent of having the whole project done before we did any paving. The last thing we want to do is pave the road and then tear it up to put a sewer line in. So that was the intent of moving forward with that. And we will wait to see what transpires next year on the Greendale sewer hookup. So I would like to see at least those people be afforded an opportunity to come and have wholesome discussion on the financial impacts. And that sort of intent moving forward if that's possible. Joseph?
Yeah, I think the meeting should be held probably towards the end of summer.
Absolutely. Yeah, the timing is totally up to what transpires, and in the meantime, we will reach out and explain to them that we'll not be going forward this year. I'm sure they're watching online, so they're probably. Thank you very much. So that is a moot point. Under new business. We've had,
There's another bylaw.
pardon me?
There's another bylaw.
Oh, sorry, there is another one. Town Lake Tax and Fees and Service bylaw. Number 1096-2023. Need to be read at the first, second, and third time. We have a mover on that, heard by Councilor Sandu, seconded by Councilor Austin, Mr. Fernandez.
Yeah, this has been dealt with at a couple of meetings, and I think council had given a go ahead to had approved those rates, and that's why those are second for the week.
Questions or comments on the first three readings? Or that coming back in December for Councilor Bridges, sorry?
I just think this is another example. I know that council have asked time and time again to have things that are changing in bylaws highlighted by staff, but there's a refusal from staff to do that. I just want to know why.
Yeah, if I may speak to that, I mean, for us to highlight bylaws, because they go to the public, it just looks like we're being, little kids. I think councilors can really look at the bylaw. I can do it by separate emails if you want. That would be better than me highlighting it and putting it on the website. Because really, at the end of the day, the council should be aware of what the changes are. Because we go through this process. And for council to be, not knowledgeable of what is being addressed at the council meeting. A bit silly.
Councilor Sandu?
Well, I actually take resent those comments. Again. When this comes to us, for the public even to see the difference and changes, we don't look childish. We look professional.
Well, it's not done elsewhere. All my years working in this well, this is not something that's done.
But does that make it wrong to ask?
No, that's why I said I can do it separate, without putting it on the website.
I have Councilor Austin and then back to Councilor Frisbee.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we had dealt with this before because we talked about it during budget talks, and if we saw the 2022. We can sit there and look at the changes ourselves. It wasn't huge. And that's kind of our job, is to go over this stuff and look at it. And it's all on the website, and we have notes from our last budget. I didn't have a problem at all with that.
I think perhaps a hard copy within the docket of highlighted changes, aside from placing it on the website, may help us in the future, if that is possible.
That is,
Highlight the changes that are incorporated. And moving from there, we would have some discussion on this. Councilor Frisbee.
Just the way that this has been painted is childish to have this. So if we're not forthright with what we are changing for the public, and we hide those changes and increases, because what other councils are saying is that we need to go through line by line from previous bylaws and go through every little one and highlight one. So I guess we're trying to hide those differences from the public and not be forthcoming with that. even if we had a cover letter before this, before bylaws, with what is changing, so that we're educating everybody, your response to that is ridiculous. We need to be forthright with what we're changing, and I realize I can put in the countless hours to go line by line. You can make everyone's life a lot easier if we're just forthright with information.
Okay, just kind of order, we can just be civil, both parties, in the picture, please. Thank you. I don't mean any disparaging remarks about that, but if both parties can be a little more respectful, that would be great. Thank you, Councilor Austin.
I just want to say one thing to that. We're not hiding anything. We talked about this in our budget meetings that were open to the public and that I don't think it's that we're hiding anything. And I know sometimes if it's a big long bylaw, it's really hard to see what was changed. So again, I think a note saying we changed number 12, whatever, that would be helpful with some of the things, but I don't know, I just didn't have a problem. That's all.
Okay, we have had this, anything else? Or we take this to a vote? Let's move for a first, second, and third reading. All in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Now we will go to new business. We're going to remove yourself and you tell us why. You have to stay.
Oh, it's your dad.
Councilor Wonaka is declared.
We won't talk about it.
Declaring a conflict as. Artwork is being.
There's a donation from
By her
Godspeed.
father.
Oh, is that it there? Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, we need some art in there.
I'll let you speak to that, Joseph, if you wish.
Okay.
I'll let you speak to that if you wish.
Yes, Godspeed came by and offered this to the town. He said, it's something that he thought would be useful to the town, but the issue is it has some stains on the back. And it's really up to you whether you want to accept it. I'm not sure where you're gonna put it.
So this is an offer of this piece of artwork by a previous councillor for our consideration, or it states council chambers, but I'm sure that can be placed anywhere throughout the building, or was it specific to council chambers?
Well, I think it was meant for here.
And again, without a wholesome plan of what the design is here, I think we will accept the gift with gratitude, in my opinion, and then look at a placement at a future date when we do incorporate that art plan that we may have for this, so you have for First Nations art along with perhaps that donation and the other opportunity to support it, really. So if you could, actually, do we need a motion to accept that? If so, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Austin, seconded by Councilor Sandu, that we accept the gift from ex-Councilor Sims with a letter of thanks be afforded to Mr. Sims for the gift. That suffice?
A verbal would be better for us.
If you phone them, they'll even better. Or when Councilor Wonaka returns, we can tell her. No. So without a full question, all in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion passes. Thank you very much. Councilor Wonaka return. Search for you. Next up on the agenda is the appointment of an alternate for the Cowichan Community Forest Cooperative. The previous alternate councillor, Sam Gill, has been approached by that body to sit as an independent director, which she has graciously accepted. So that leaves me with the need to form an alternate for the town of Lake Cowichan. I have asked Councilor Bonac if she would be interested this year to sit on as an alternate. She has stated yes. So I will put Councilor Bonac as the name forward as an alternate for the Cowichan Community Force Cooperative. If I have a seconder, we will go from there. Seconded by Councilor Austin. Any discussion there? Seeing none, I'll call the question, all in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries, thank you. And we're not the only ones dealing with this, broadcasting equipment for streaming meetings. Who would like to take that?
I think it came from Council first.
Yeah, just want an update. I know that when we're talking about updates of this building renovation, that there would be a new broadcast system installed, because at the moment you cannot hear anybody during the broadcast. Is there any update on?
We've been looking at different options. We did look at the city of Duncan. The cost is hefty, $100,000. The council thinks that's okay. We can go there, but we're trying to reduce the cost of a camera system that would work. So that's where we're at. We're looking at options. You give us a dollar figure that we can go up to, and if you take it 100,000 reasonable, we can do that.
And follow up, Councilor Kirby.
Have any other options been looked at? Like, I know the latest generation of owls can be paired with other microphones where we can have them surrounding places. They've been looked at too.
Yeah, they've been looked at, and so we're looking at something that would work. And because you all have electric system, outlets there that could be hooked up to microphones. We are definitely looking at that.
Further?
No.
Good for now, Councilor. You're good? Councilor Bowman.
I thought that we had, in the budget, for the renovation and to do the council chamber for provisions, that there was a specific amount,
Not a separate,
it wasn't a separate amount, but was there any more money in that fund?
we will be, by the time we look at it, will be a 2024 expense, January. So we'll come back to, well, when we find something that's suitable, we'll come back to you for approval.
So what was the budget for 2024?
Councilor Austin?
What is the one at the CDRD like? Because we had separate microphones
I don't
there.
know if it's camera system or not, is it?
There is a camera system that is pointed from the back, so that you can investigate.
We can look at that one.
Incorporating that, the pricing on that system, et cetera. They do have their own technical difficulties at times, but our IT department is,
Expensive.
yes. Other than that, Councilor Kirby.
Just because this is dragging and people are complaining a lot about it's impossible to tune in from home or Australia. Can we give a deadline on when we want to get this?
Well, I would say January. No,
Okay.
January.
Okay. Sound good? Okay, we'll bring back some options for us, second generation owl, we're putting microphones as one possibility. The bumping system still has some glitches within it as well, if you do watch some of their videos, it can be blurry, but at least you can hear the audio. And with that, we'll wait for that to come back and have the decision. Under D, elder child annex demolition. That you know, Mr. Frisbee?
Just a question through the SEO, who's overseeing this project?
And we've done 4 projects similar to this. Nobody has overseen those projects. We're talking demolition, but we're not talking construction. So they are actually overseeing it themselves. Always worked well. And I don't see a problem with this.
Just to follow up,
Absolutely.
so they are the general contractor on this. As far as, extras to this job if anything is discovered over there?
And nothing has been discovered yet.
But is there a contract and is there any stipulations on the extras?
Yes. If there, anything other than what they can see, if it's below ground, if there's an oil container, they have said that will be something over and above the project. Everything that they see on the outside is what they're going to have.
Or within the envelope of the building.
Yeah,
And would that be cost at a time material plus a percentage?
it hasn't come to that yet, but we'll definitely cross that bridge when it comes to it.
Yeah, and would any extras have to be approved by this council?
Well, it depends on the amount, because I can approve amounts up to 20,000.
Right.
I'm not going to, if that comes back at 20,000. Minor amounts, I can approve rather than pulling it up.
And follow up?
How many do you need? No,
What's the last one? No, I understand that we have done this before and it's demolition, but after this project, I think the council needs to start treating well as far as who we employ. What references they do have and how we manage these projects. So, I mean, I think it would be good for this council to revisit. If there are projects, say over $100,000 that we should have a project manager that isn't a mediator or someone that works in between it. I think we need to have someone who's team like Calchin as far as project managers on these things, because as I stated in the previous meeting, with buildings like this, the unforeseen things can go sideways pretty quick. So that would just be my recommendation going forward.
Thank you. We can discuss that at a later meeting for sure. Yes, Councillor Lomaka.
Can we just get an update as to when the demolition is happening? I see the sort of trailers there.
So,
How long do they take?
well, 4 weeks, no longer than 4.
Anything else? Good with that? Okay, under E is the Strong Start announcement of the closure of the Paulson Strong Start program. Effective in December. It's unfortunate that we learned of this on a Pro D Day on Friday on Facebook. I think with the school board having liaisons to each community, that we could be afforded this opportunity to have the discussion prior to the announcement to see if there was any opportunity to keep that program going. It had been incorporated with some extra funding into the Paulson school system, which was embraced by a number of community members to help get their children ready for kindergarten to the Strong Start program. I've had numerous calls and emails regarding this closure and whether or not there would be any avenue to one of the sentences within the announcement was that any members could take their children to other opportunities within the Cowichan Valley, closest one being Drinkwater School, which would contribute to our GHG emissions, which would not allow us to meet our goals, reductions that have been mandated by the province. I just think it was a little disrespectful for us not to be informed of the political ramifications that will come from this decision. I know it's a funding problem. They have run out of the funds that they had allocated extra funding from the ministry that has been depleted, and they had to make a difficult decision on where they would close those two facilities. So 2 Strong Start programs have closed, but I would like a discussion with either the board chair or the school board trustees as to any options of re-implementing the Strong Start system within Lake Cowichan. One of the points made was that perhaps the accommodations within Paulson were not sufficient. I do believe that it had moved from Paulson to the high school, which was probably a factor in some of the absence of people attending, with it moving from the elementary school to the high school. So I would certainly like a discussion as to how or if or what opportunities there are to reincorporate a Strong Start program so that we can help students and young people within our community stay in our community. It's no different than the Elder Care Society trying to build a long-term care facility for people to reside within the community where they live. It seems silly to say that they can travel to Drinkwater or Mill Bay or other aspects within Cowichan Valley when the program is already implemented, in place, and successful in the town of Cowichan. I'm frustrated that at least we were not informed of the decision coming forward. I think it's very disrespectful, and I would stop there. Councilor Austin.
Well, that's funny, because I just, last Tuesday when I volunteered around the house, I put together packages for newborns. And we had a whole new, pamphlet from Strong Start, so I'm gonna have to take that on. And it's really important, I used to go to those, at Paulson, and another thing about Paulson, it's kind of embarrassing that they have so many, of the, what do you call it, those outbuildings. And they're building schools in Langford and everything else. I mean, we've needed an elementary school here for a number of years.
Don't get me started on.
No, but again,
I ran again for 10 minutes. You gave me the opportunity.
let me finish.
I'm gonna piggyback on that.
Okay, we have had the chamber, what do you call it, the school board come to us once a year, always, and sit and talk with us, and they didn't do that in the last 2 years. So I think we have to reach out, saying that we have one of the school board trustees living here in Jennifer Stratton. And that's really important. I tried to reach out to her regarding the Opaki visit. She was away at the time. I thought it would be important to be there. So I really think we have to follow that up because we lost health and vision at Island Health, and we're trying to get that back going, and that was for young parents to meet up with other young parents in the community. So we're starting to lose things in our community, and people are not, we have a lot of babies. We're having 30 to 40 babies a year.
Not this tape.
No, I hope not. So that's just my,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
And I will piggyback on your comment. A new elementary school for the town of Lake Cowichan was #1 on the capital priority list for the school district 79 for a number of years. It was placed off the list when the new Cowichan High school project came forward, and it is no longer within the capital projections for the school. You consistently hear about Surrey's complaints about adding portables within their system. And that's exactly what Paulson is doing to accommodate the increase in attendance. And as you say, with the influx of new families moving into the community, younger people, young families with children, that program is going to be needed in 4 to 5 years in the future. While these young people within our community are looking to implement into the school system. To be ready to learn, that's an excellent program. I think I saw a transcript.
Yes, you did. One comment that I could make to the mayor and Councillor Sandhu during the recent parade was I've never seen so many young children on that parade route. And so for this to be closed, I don't know how they came up with that decision. But the other thing is it's okay to say, okay, you go to Drinkwater Road. Well, Drinkwater Road, for mom bringing a child to Strong Start and has a smaller child back here in school who doesn't drive and needs to get on a bus, has obviously not been looked at for their availability. If it's in Paulson and they have children there, or even over here at the other school, it's easy for them, their own community, to pick up siblings. So I think, I agree with you, this one has to be looked at.
Appreciate the difficult decision that they did make. A little heads up would be very appreciated. Councillor Sandhu.
I was just wondering if, we asked for a meeting and also include, area I and area F, directors, just because their kids in their areas come to our schools, so in the Cowichan, so I think it'd be important for them to attend also. Yeah. But this is set for closure December 31st of this year, so we have to get on a meeting like next week if we can, so.
I don't think there will be any opportunity to negate the closure this year, but I believe that a meeting, to voice our displeasure on the way it was implemented, again, on a pro day announced on social media, I don't think is good governance, in my opinion. I know provincial governments do it all the time, and they do special announcements on Friday, where we hope that we might forget about it by Monday. I would like to see at least a letter go forward to the school board trustees and school district 79, asking for clarification on the closure of the Strong Start program in Lake Cowichan, and for a meeting to accommodate some discussion on possibilities of re-implementing what it would take. So I will move that a letter be sent to School District 79 and the trustees, affording us an opportunity to meet and discuss the closure of Strong Start program in Lake Cowichan. Seconded by Councilor Stanadu.
There's also a group of residents that are concerned about this also, so I think, I would say never, that this can't be turned around. So the sooner we can meet with them, the better opportunity we have of discussion. And if we could get this letter out by the end of this week at the latest, then that would help at least us to have a meeting with them to discuss this.
Or even an email correspondence
Yeah.
would suffice,
Yeah.
either paper or electronic correspondence to the school district and trustees. So I'll make that friendly amendment to the motion. Second, you're okay with that? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that motion carries. I'm just waiting to let me down. Next, Councillor Austin, on please, were you looking for dates and numbers?
Well, we had talked about it and I did send something out quite a while ago because we had talked about having more meetings. I just wondered if even for 1 year before they go out, because they usually work on them in December, that we maybe try and do 3 next year and have March, June and October. October's a little better than November because of the weather. That was a suggestion. And if you did do it for the whole time on the our third or fourth year would be 2026. And this might be the October one, because you would have wanted to, you know, having people for elections. So that's my suggestion. I don't know if it's something that we have motion on, or just to give just direction to staff to look at the dates, either the first, we used to do the first Monday and then we changed it on and off, but do we want to do the first Monday of March and the first Monday of June? We could look, oh, yeah. Yeah, and first Monday in October. If those are not holidays, those first, but we could always look to do the Tuesday for that.
Councillor Stan.
I just wondered if we also could look at possibly holding it in our new council chambers with the amount of people that turn out. I think it would be at least the first one, just to see if it
open house. That could be our open house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that there is concern that perhaps we do ask a lot of our staff to attend these sort of meetings. If we pick one that they're obligated to attend, I think we can do 2 a year, so if they can make the March and October one, I'm sure we can accommodate this one by ourselves, if they'll give us the code for the building and utilize the facility. But I know we certainly don't want to put any more work onto our already depleted staff, but always ask more on it. We have done more tonight. Yes.
Well, I just one more thing. I also think it's important to have like how we've had speakers, we've had conversation, like an agendas type of thing, like just to start a conversation on kind of a couple of topics that the community's facing. And I think that helped kind of start the whole evening where it's not just an attack, like it's actually a good educational conversation, and then after those are done, then it leads into discussion and questions to council and staff. So I just think it's important that we have a couple topics each public meeting, so we're kind of promoting different things and whatnot.
So I did commit to a previous delegation that we would invite conservation and the Bear Smart Wild Safe to the first public meeting, so we will add that as a topic for the March meeting, that those two groups be invited again. And this would be a proactive approach in March as we get ready for the influx of the bears coming in October, etc., to get the information out reactively and proactively instead of reactively. So that would be the first topic, in my opinion, I made a commitment to that delegation that we would at least discuss that moving forward. There is a group that is discussing some possible solutions to the wildlife encounter, and they are working outside of council. Just part of the group that was here on that delegation, trying to come up with some ideas to present and move forward from there. So March, June, and October for those public meetings, if we can add them to the calendar, and we will make the topics a little sooner to the date, but the first one with conservation and wild safe invited. Yes,
I was thinking by June, we would have our budget set too, and that's, even if our staff didn't come to that, if we have our budget information and our last, like I took some of the financial stuff to the last one and the year-end report, we'd have the year-end report by June, I think, usually.
The end of it.
Yeah, oh, okay, well, things like that, so that people, because some of them did actually look at some of the stuff I had, maybe talk about the recycling too, now that it has changed, that's another one which we did once before. A lot of people still are not recycling property, things like that, that breaks the ice, and then people didn't bring up what they are.
Nope, sounds good.
Thank
Anything
you.
else on that?
Thank
That's
you.
more just direction and everything, so March, June, October. Any notices of motion, we was gonna be start, anything that you can think of now? No? So it's question period. Anyone who is watching online, if you can hear me, if you do have any questions on any agenda items tonight, on tonight's agenda, you can email your question to general@lakecouching.ca. That's general@lakecouching.ca. They don't come in prior to us adjourning. We will look for those at a future time and try to answer them in a prompt manner. For in-person attendees, we have a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. If you do have a question on tonight's agenda items, that'll include the ones that we added. Please feel free, you have 3 minutes. State your name and your question if you do have one. Seeing none, I'm sure there's none by email yet.
No, not yet.
So we will look for those in the future. I think there may be a couple coming, especially with the late item. With that, Councilor Allen.
Well, I have a question. I thought at one point we were going to say at the beginning of our meeting and let people know they can email any questions rather than at the very end.
I believe I did negate to do that.
No, but could we, put that under call to order and then say if you have questions you want to email in on the agenda, do so during the meeting, and we'll discuss it again, something like that.
I think we would have to amend our procedure, but
Yeah.
We did though.
Well, it doesn't really matter because you do state that they've got questions they can email afterwards. So
yes, we will answer.
Yeah, I just thought I could do that at the beginning, then we have a chance
Now
to do
that,
it right now. Yeah, whatever. That's different.
So I don't see any questions and I'm holding some people up, so I'm looking for the reason why we're going in camera, Mr. Fernandez.
Section 92 of the community charter requires that before a meeting or part of the meeting is to be closed to the public, council must state by resolution why the meeting is to be closed. and the basis on which the meeting is to be closed falls under the following sections of the committee charter. Section 91E, the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of lands or improvement. Section 91F, law enforcement. And section 91G, litigation, potential litigation affecting the municipality.
So I have a mover here on camera with those items, Councilor Molnaka, Councilor Austin, all in favor. Take 5 minutes or so, so we can spread on.
No, I didn't.
We can.
I'm gonna help them.
That's it.
Yeah. I think they did.
Somebody in the room.
No, they all still on it, not broadcast.
What, do you want?
No, I just want to make sure.